Welcome, everyone. Today we are going to talk about something incredibly powerful: how to control your thoughts. Most people believe their biggest problems come from the outside, from other people, from situations, from bad luck, or from difficult circumstances. But the truth goes much deeper than that. The biggest battles in life are not happening around you. They are happening inside your mind. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through your brain. Some thoughts give you strength. Some thoughts destroy your confidence. Some thoughts push you forward. And some thoughts slowly pull you backward. The truth is simple. Your thoughts create your life. If your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, anger, and negativity, your life will slowly reflect those things. But if your thoughts become calm, focused, and positive, your life begins to shift in powerful ways. The problem is that most people never learn how to manage their thoughts. They let their mind run freely, like an uncontrolled machine. Their mind worries about the future. Their mind replays mistakes from the past. Their mind compares itself with other people. Their mind builds unnecessary fear and stress. And because they never learn to guide their thinking, their thoughts begin running them. But the moment you learn how to direct your thoughts, everything changes. Your confidence grows. Your decisions become sharper. Your emotions become steadier. And your life starts moving in a better direction. In this video, we are going to explore powerful habits that help you take control of your mind. These habits may look simple, but when practiced consistently, they can completely reshape the way you think. Make sure you watch until the end, because the final lessons will show you how to train your brain to work for you instead of against you. And while listening to videos like this, you are also building your English naturally. If you enjoy learning and growing with us, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful lessons. Lesson 1. Awareness. You cannot control something you are not aware of. Imagine trying to fix a problem you cannot see. It would be impossible. The same thing happens with thoughts. Most people have no idea what is going on inside their own mind. Thoughts appear automatically, and people react to them without questioning them. For example, a negative thought appears. I'm not good enough. Instead of questioning it, the person immediately believes it. Then another thought appears. Everyone else is better than me. Again, the person accepts it as truth. Slowly, these thoughts build emotions like insecurity, fear, and self-doubt. But here is something important to understand. A thought is just a mental event. It is not automatically a fact. Your brain produces thoughts constantly, just like your heart beats constantly. But that does not mean every thought deserves your attention. Awareness means stepping back and observing your thoughts, instead of immediately reacting to them. For example, when a negative thought appears, instead of believing it right away, you simply notice it. You say to yourself, "Interesting. My mind just produced a negative thought." This small moment of awareness creates distance between you and the thought. Instead of being controlled by it, you become the observer. This is extremely powerful, because when you observe your thoughts, you begin recognizing patterns. You may notice that your mind often worries about the future. You may notice that your mind often criticizes you. You may notice that your mind constantly compares you with others. Once you become aware of these patterns, you can begin shifting them. Awareness gives you the power to pause before reacting. Instead of letting thoughts control your emotions, you begin choosing how to respond. Think of awareness like turning on a light in a dark room. Before the light is on, you cannot see anything clearly. But the moment the light appears, everything becomes visible. Awareness works the same way inside your mind. When you start paying attention to your thoughts, you begin understanding how your mind operates. And once you understand your thinking patterns, you can start redirecting them. This is why awareness is the foundation of mental control. Before you can change your thoughts, you must first notice them. And the moment you start observing your thoughts, you take the first step toward becoming the master of your mind, instead of the victim of it. Lesson 2. Reading. One of the most powerful ways to take control of your thoughts is reading. Many people underestimate the power of books. They think reading is simply a way to collect information. But in reality, reading does something far deeper than that. Reading reprograms your mind. Think about this carefully. Every day, your mind is shaped by what you see, what you hear, and what you take in. If someone spends hours absorbing negative news, scrolling through social media, or listening to toxic conversations, their mind slowly soaks up that negativity. Their thoughts become anxious. Their thinking becomes scattered. Their attention becomes weak. But when someone reads powerful books, something completely different happens. Books introduce you to new ideas. Books challenge the way you think. Books bring your mind face to face with the wisdom of people who spent years learning, experimenting, and growing. For example, imagine reading a book about discipline. As you read, your mind begins understanding how disciplined people think. You start noticing patterns. You start realizing that success usually comes from consistent effort, not sudden motivation. Slowly, those ideas begin influencing your own thinking. This is why reading is so powerful. Books allow you to borrow the experience and wisdom of others. Instead of learning everything through painful mistakes, you can learn from people who have already walked that path. But reading also does something else that matters deeply. It slows your mind down. When you read carefully, your brain focuses deeply on ideas. This kind of deep focus trains your mind to think more clearly. Instead of jumping between distractions, your mind begins learning how to concentrate. And concentration is one of the most important skills for controlling your thoughts. Another powerful benefit of reading is that it replaces negative thinking with constructive thinking. Your mind cannot stay empty. It will always be filled with something. So the question is simple. What are you filling your mind with? If you constantly feed your mind with meaningful ideas, inspiring stories, and valuable knowledge, your thinking naturally becomes stronger. Your brain begins producing better thoughts. Better thoughts lead to better actions, and better actions lead to a better life. This is why reading is not just a hobby. Reading is mental training. It trains your brain to think deeper, focus longer, and understand life more clearly. Even reading just a few pages every day can slowly transform your thinking. Over time, those small daily lessons begin shaping your mindset. And when your mindset changes, your entire life begins to change. Lesson 3. Meditation. Another powerful way to control your thoughts is meditation. Many people misunderstand meditation. They think it means sitting quietly and trying to stop all thoughts. But meditation is not about stopping thoughts. Meditation is about learning how to observe your mind calmly. Every human mind produces thoughts constantly. Some thoughts are useful. Some thoughts are negative. Some thoughts are completely random. The problem is that most people immediately react to every thought. If a negative thought appears, they believe it. If an angry thought appears, they act on it. If a fearful thought appears, they panic. Meditation teaches you something very powerful. It teaches you that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. When you sit quietly and bring your focus to your breathing, something interesting happens. Thoughts still appear. Your mind might recall something from yesterday. Your mind might jump ahead to tomorrow. Your mind might wander between different ideas. But during meditation, instead of reacting to those thoughts, you simply notice them. You observe them. And then you gently bring your attention back to your breathing. This simple practice trains your brain to become calmer. Instead of being pulled around by every thought, your mind learns to stay steady over time. This builds an incredible level of mental control. For example, imagine someone says something that makes you angry. Normally, your mind reacts immediately. But if you have trained your mind through meditation, something different happens. You notice the emotion rising. You observe the thought. But instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. That pause gives you power. Because in that moment, you can choose your response instead of reacting automatically. Meditation strengthens this ability. It builds mental discipline. It reduces anxiety. It increases awareness. And most importantly, it teaches your mind how to stay calm, even in stressful situations. You do not need hours of meditation every day. Even 5 to 10 minutes of quiet breathing can slowly change your mental state. Over time, meditation creates a peaceful space inside your mind. And from that peaceful space, clear thinking becomes possible. When your mind becomes calmer, your thoughts become more organized. When your thoughts become organized, your decisions become wiser. And when your decisions become wiser, your life begins moving in a better direction. Lesson 4. Be grateful. At first, this idea may sound very small. But if you truly understand it, gratitude can completely change the way your mind works. The human brain has a natural tendency to focus on problems. Thousands of years ago, this helped humans survive. Our ancestors needed to detect dangers quickly. But in modern life, this same survival instinct can become harmful. Your mind constantly searches for what is wrong. It remembers failures. It replays mistakes. It compares your life with other people's lives. And slowly, your thoughts become filled with negativity. But gratitude interrupts this pattern. Gratitude trains your mind to notice what is good in your life, instead of only focusing on what is missing. Think about this carefully. At any moment, your mind has 2 directions it can take. It can focus on everything you lack, or it can focus on everything you already have. Both directions exist at the same time, but the direction you choose will shape your thinking. For example, imagine 2 people living in the same situation. One person constantly complains about their job, their circumstances, their problems, their limitations. The other person practices gratitude. They appreciate the chance to learn, the people who support them, and the small progress they make every day. Both people face the same reality. But their thoughts are completely different. And over time, their lives will also become different. Gratitude shifts your mental focus. Instead of constantly asking, "Why is my life so difficult?" you begin asking, "What can I appreciate today?" This shift may seem small, but it transforms your emotional state. Gratitude reduces stress. Gratitude increases optimism. Gratitude strengthens mental resilience. And when your mind becomes more positive, controlling your thoughts becomes easier. A powerful habit is practicing gratitude every day. Before sleeping, take a moment and think about 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be major achievements. Sometimes gratitude comes from simple things: a meaningful conversation, a quiet moment during the day, progress toward a goal, support from someone you care about. Over time, this habit trains your brain to automatically search for positive meaning. And when your mind becomes trained in gratitude, negative thinking loses much of its power. Your thoughts begin moving in a healthier direction. Lesson 5. Journaling. Write your thoughts. Journaling simply means putting down on paper what is happening in your mind. Many people carry thousands of thoughts inside their head every single day. They think about problems. They worry about situations. They replay conversations. They imagine future scenarios. But all these thoughts stay trapped inside their mind. When thoughts remain in your head, they often become confusing and overwhelming. Your mind keeps circling these same ideas again and again. It becomes difficult to see things clearly. This is where journaling becomes powerful. When you write your thoughts on paper, something remarkable happens. Your mind begins to organize itself. Instead of chaotic thinking, your ideas become structured. You start understanding what you are actually thinking. For example, imagine you are feeling anxious about something, but your mind might be full of scattered thoughts. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I disappoint someone? But when you write these thoughts down, you begin seeing them more clearly. You can analyze them. You can question them. Sometimes, you even realize that many of your worries are exaggerated. Writing creates distance between you and your thoughts. Instead of being trapped inside your mind, those thoughts appear in front of you. This allows you to examine them logically. Journaling also helps release emotional pressure. Many people carry stress simply because they never express what they feel. But when you write honestly about your thoughts and emotions, it feels like lifting a heavy weight off your mind. Your brain becomes lighter. Your thinking becomes clearer. Many successful thinkers and leaders use journaling regularly. They write ideas. They reflect on their decisions. They work through problems calmly. This practice strengthens mental clarity, and clarity is essential for controlling your thoughts. Even writing for 5 or 10 minutes a day can produce powerful results. You do not need perfect sentences. You do not need beautiful writing. Just write honestly. Over time, this habit becomes a powerful tool for understanding your own mind. And when you understand your mind better, controlling your thoughts becomes much easier. Lesson 6. Reprogram your brain for positivity. Many people believe their thoughts appear randomly, but that is not completely true. Your brain works like a program. Whatever thoughts you repeat again and again slowly become mental patterns. If someone constantly thinks, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," "Nothing ever works for me," those thoughts slowly become part of their mental programming. After some time, their brain automatically produces the same thoughts, even without effort. This is how negative thinking patterns are formed. But the good news is that the brain can change. Scientists call this ability neuroplasticity, which means your brain can create new mental patterns when you practice new ways of thinking. In simple words, your brain can be reprogrammed. And the key is repetition. If you repeatedly feed your mind with positive, constructive ideas, your brain slowly begins accepting them. For example, imagine someone who starts training their mind with thoughts like, "I am improving every day. I can learn new skills. I can work through challenges. My effort will produce results." At first, these thoughts might feel unnatural. Your mind may resist them. But if you keep repeating and acting on these ideas, your brain slowly builds new pathways. Over time, positive thinking becomes more natural. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. Reprogramming your brain means choosing thoughts that strengthen you instead of weakening you. For example, when a challenge appears, instead of thinking, "This is impossible," you train your mind to think, "This is difficult, but I will find a way." That small change completely transforms your mental energy. Negative thoughts drain your motivation. Positive and constructive thoughts give you the strength to act. Another powerful way to reprogram your brain is through daily exposure to positive ideas. This can come from books, educational content, meaningful conversations, or quiet reflection. The more you expose your mind to constructive thinking, the stronger those mental patterns become. Over time, your brain begins producing helpful thoughts automatically. Instead of fear and doubt, your mind starts generating confidence and solutions. And when your thoughts change, your actions change. When your actions change, your life begins to change. Lesson 7. Train your brain to work for you. One of the most important things you must understand is this. Your brain can either become your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. For many people, the brain becomes an enemy. Their mind constantly generates doubt. Their mind brings up past failures. Their mind creates unnecessary fears. And because they never trained their brain, they believe every negative thought that appears. But when you begin training your brain, something powerful happens. Your mind starts supporting your goals instead of blocking them. Think of your brain like a powerful machine. If the machine is not trained properly, it will produce random results. But if you train it carefully, it becomes extremely useful. Training your brain means building intentional mental habits. For example, when facing difficulty, an untrained mind may immediately think, "I should quit." But a trained mind responds differently. It asks, "What can I learn from this? What is the next step forward?" This difference may seem small, but it changes everything. Because your brain influences your actions, and your actions shape your future. Another important part of training your brain is mental discipline. This means learning to direct your attention. Today, many people struggle with attention because their brain is constantly distracted. Notifications, social media, and endless information train the brain to jump from one thing to another. But a trained mind can focus deeply. Focus allows your brain to work more effectively. When your brain focuses on a task, it processes information better. It solves problems faster. It produces more creative ideas. Training your brain also means protecting your mental environment. The conversations you hear, the content you consume, and the people you spend time with all influence your thinking. If your environment constantly feeds negativity, your brain absorbs it. But if your environment encourages growth and learning, your brain begins adapting to those ideas. This is why successful people are careful about what they allow into their mind. They treat their brain like a valuable asset. They feed it knowledge. They train it with discipline. They point it toward meaningful goals. And over time, their mind becomes one of their strongest advantages. When your brain works for you, challenges become easier to face. Your confidence grows stronger. Your decisions become clearer. And your thoughts begin pushing you forward instead of holding you back. Lesson 8. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. One of the biggest problems in the modern world is constant noise. People are rarely alone with their own mind. The moment they wake up, they check their phone. They listen to music while working. They scroll social media during breaks. They watch videos before sleeping. From morning to night, their brain is constantly flooded with information and stimulation. Because of this, the mind never gets a chance to slow down and reset. This constant stimulation makes the mind restless. Your thoughts become scattered. Your attention becomes weak. Your brain gets used to distraction. But something powerful happens when you sit in silence. When you remove noise and stimulation, your mind begins to settle. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Many people feel uneasy sitting quietly without distractions. Their mind suddenly becomes very active. Thoughts start arriving rapidly. But this is normal. What you are experiencing is simply your mind releasing all the thoughts that were buried beneath constant stimulation. When you sit in silence for even 5 minutes, your brain begins to calm itself. You start noticing your breathing. Your thoughts begin to slow down. Your awareness becomes sharper. This quiet moment creates mental clarity. It is similar to shaking a bottle filled with muddy water. When the bottle is constantly shaken, the water stays cloudy. But when you stop shaking it and let it rest, the mud slowly settles and the water becomes clear. Your mind works in exactly the same way. Constant stimulation keeps your thoughts cloudy. Silence allows your thoughts to settle. Practicing 5 minutes of silence every day can slowly strengthen your mental control. You begin understanding your own mind better. You notice which thoughts repeat frequently. You recognize emotional patterns. This awareness allows you to guide your thoughts more intentionally. Over time, these small moments of silence build a powerful mental habit. Instead of reacting impulsively to everything around you, your mind becomes calmer and more stable. And when your mind becomes calm, controlling your thoughts becomes much easier. Sometimes the most powerful solution is not doing more. Sometimes the solution is simply being still. Lesson 9. 90% off. 10% people. Many people spend a huge amount of mental energy thinking about others. They worry about what people think of them. They compare their life with others. They study other people's success. They replay conversations in their mind. They imagine how others might judge them. All of this mental activity burns enormous energy. But here is the truth. Most people are far too occupied with their own lives to constantly think about you. Yet many individuals waste hours worrying about opinions that may not even exist. This is why it is important to focus 90% on yourself and only 10% on other people. This does not mean ignoring others or becoming selfish. It simply means directing most of your mental energy toward your own growth. Ask yourself, how can I improve today? What skill can I develop? What habit can I strengthen? What mistake can I learn from? When you redirect your focus towards self-improvement, your thoughts become productive instead of stressful. Instead of constantly comparing yourself with others, you begin competing with your previous self. Instead of worrying about judgment, you begin building confidence through action. Think about how much mental energy people waste on comparison. Someone sees another person's success and immediately thinks, they are better than me. Why is my life not like that? I will never reach that level. But comparison rarely helps you grow. It usually creates frustration and insecurity. When you shift your focus toward your own progress, something powerful happens. Your thoughts become constructive. Your mind becomes calmer. You begin measuring success differently. Instead of asking, am I better than others? You ask, am I better than yesterday? This mindset removes unnecessary mental pressure. You stop chasing approval from everyone around you, and you begin building your own path with confidence. Focusing on yourself also gives your mind a clear direction. When your thoughts are centered on growth, learning, and progress, there is less space for negativity and distraction. This habit slowly trains your brain to prioritize improvement over comparison. And once your mind adopts this mindset, controlling your thoughts becomes much easier. Your attention becomes stronger, your confidence becomes stronger, and your mental energy is finally directed toward the things that truly matter. Lesson 10. Control what enters your mind. Of the most important truths about thoughts is this: your thoughts come from what you consume. Your mind is constantly absorbing information from your environment. Everything you watch, listen to, read, and discuss slowly shapes the way your brain thinks. If someone spends hours taking in negative news, gossip, or toxic content, their mind begins producing more fear, anger, and negativity. But if someone fills their mind with positive knowledge, powerful ideas, and meaningful conversations, their thinking becomes stronger and more constructive. Your brain is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant in that soil will eventually grow. If you plant seeds of negativity, negativity grows. If you plant seeds of wisdom, wisdom grows. This is why controlling your thoughts begins with controlling your mental environment. Ask yourself, what kind of content do I consume every day? What kinds of conversations do I listen to? What kinds of people influence my thinking? Many people want positive thinking, but they constantly expose their mind to negativity. That is like trying to grow a healthy plant while watering it with poison every day. So if you truly want to control your thoughts, you must become selective about what enters your mind. Choose better books. Choose better information. Choose conversations that help you grow. Because the quality of your thoughts depends on the quality of what you allow into your brain. When you protect your mental environment, your thoughts naturally become clearer and more powerful. Lesson 11. Take action. Instead of overthinking, people think too much, but act too little. Their mind constantly analyzes situations, imagines different possibilities, and worries about outcomes. But while they are thinking, time keeps moving forward. Overthinking often creates confusion instead of clarity. The mind keeps repeating questions like, what if I fail? What if things go wrong? What if people judge me? But these thoughts rarely lead to answers. They only create hesitation. The truth is that action is one of the best ways to control your thoughts. When you take action, your mind becomes focused on the present moment. Instead of worrying endlessly, you begin learning through experience. Imagine someone who wants to improve their English speaking. If they keep thinking about it without actually speaking, their mind will produce fear. But the moment they start practicing, speaking, listening, making mistakes, their brain begins adapting. Confidence grows through action, not through thinking. Action breaks the cycle of negative thoughts. It turns fear into experience. It turns uncertainty into progress. This does not mean acting without thinking. It means balancing thinking with action. Think clearly, make a decision, and then move forward. Because every step you take teaches your brain something new, and with every step, your mind becomes stronger. Lesson 12. Focus on one task. One of the most powerful ways to control your thoughts is learning to focus on one task at a time. Today, many people struggle with their thoughts because their mind is constantly jumping from one thing to another. They start a task and then check their phone. They try to study and then open social media. They begin working and then drift into thinking about something else. This constant switching confuses the brain. When your attention is scattered, your thoughts become scattered too. Your mind feels busy, but in reality, it becomes weaker and less effective. But when you focus on one task with full attention, something powerful happens. Your brain becomes calm, your thoughts become organized, your concentration becomes stronger. Think about sunlight. When sunlight spreads in every direction, it feels warm but not powerful. But when sunlight is focused through a magnifying glass, it becomes strong enough to start a fire. Your mind works the same way. When your attention is spread across many things, your mental power becomes weak. But when you focus your mind on a single task, your thinking becomes powerful. If you are studying, study with full attention. If you are working, work with full attention. If you are practicing a skill, give it your complete focus. When you train your brain to focus deeply, you also train your brain to control your thoughts. Because distraction is one of the biggest reasons people lose control of their mind. A focused mind is a disciplined mind, and a disciplined mind is capable of achieving incredible things. So start practicing this simple habit. Do one task, give it your full attention, and watch how your mind becomes stronger, calmer, and more powerful every single day. Lesson 14. The 5-second rule. One of the most powerful tools for controlling your thoughts is something extremely simple, yet remarkably effective. The 5-second rule. Most people believe their biggest enemy is laziness, fear, or lack of motivation. But the real enemy is hesitation. Think about how many times this happens in everyday life. You wake up in the morning and think, I should get up and start my day. But suddenly another thought appears. Just 5 more minutes. You decide to begin working on something important, but your mind whispers, I'll start later. You want to speak up, share an idea, or try something new, but your brain says, what if you fail? What if people judge you? And before you realize it, the moment is gone. This is how the mind slowly begins running your life. Because the moment you hesitate, your brain starts building excuses. The brain's job is to keep you comfortable. It tries to shield you from effort, discomfort, and risk. But the problem is that comfort often stops progress. Every time you delay action, the brain strengthens the habit of hesitation. But the 5-second rule breaks this pattern. The rule is very simple. When you know you should do something important, you immediately count in your mind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you move. You stand up. You start the task. You speak. You take action. You do not wait for motivation. You do not allow the brain to start negotiating, because the longer you wait, the stronger the excuses become. But when you count down and act immediately, you interrupt that mental loop. This simple countdown does something powerful inside the brain. It shifts your mind from thinking mode into action mode. Instead of allowing fear, doubt, or laziness to grow, you take control of the moment. Think about how many opportunities people lose simply because they hesitate. They hesitate to start learning. They hesitate to try something new. They hesitate to speak up. They hesitate to chase their dreams. But success often belongs to those who act before fear takes control. The 5-second rule trains your brain to move forward instead of staying stuck. Imagine you want to start improving your life. Maybe you want to study more. Maybe you want to build a new habit. Maybe you want to begin working toward your goals. Your mind will always try to delay the start. But the moment that urge to wait appears, you use the rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you begin. You open the book. You start the work. You take the first step. This action may seem small, but it creates a powerful mental shift, because every time you act immediately, you send a message to your brain. I am in control. Over time, this builds incredible mental strength. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop letting fear dominate your thinking. Instead, you become someone who acts. And action is what turns thoughts into reality. Remember something powerful. The biggest dreams in the world do not fail because people are incapable. They fail because people hesitate too long. But when you train yourself to act within those first 5 seconds, you begin winning small battles inside your mind. And those small victories slowly build unstoppable momentum. So the next time your mind tries to delay something important, remember this simple countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. Because every time you choose action over hesitation, you are training your brain to become stronger. And a strong mind is the foundation of a powerful life. As we reach the end of this video, remember one powerful truth. Your life is not controlled by circumstances. Your life is controlled by your thoughts. Every action begins with a thought. Every decision begins with a thought. Every habit begins with a thought. If your thoughts are negative, fearful, and scattered, your life will slowly drift in that direction. But if your thoughts become focused, calm, and powerful, your life will begin to transform. Controlling your thoughts does not happen overnight. It is something you practice every single day, through awareness, through reading and learning, through meditation and silence, through gratitude and reflection, through training your brain to work for you instead of against you. Little by little, these habits strengthen your mind. And when your mind becomes stronger, you stop being controlled by fear, doubt, and negativity. Instead, you begin directing your own life. So from today, Start paying attention to what is happening inside your mind, because the moment you start controlling your thoughts, you start controlling your future. And remember this: a powerful mind creates a powerful life.